Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. At this point, I don't need to explain the story of factions to all of you guys. You know about the delays, you know about the promises, and then things falling through, etc, etc. What I want to talk about today is the fact that yesterday, Kotaku wrote an article about the whole thing saying, where the hell are factions? What's going on? We're running out of time in this operation and they're still not in the game and they've been promised for this operation. But now, Josh Woo Cool has found that in the Black Ops 4 Zombies game files, this image has been added. And as far as I'm concerned, this is representative of each of the 4 factions that we had confirmed way back in the original community reveal. The names of the factions are Tempus Novi, Bloodfaith, the First Legion, and Dustborn, and I think that there's a pretty good chance that the order left to right of the images here match up with the order of the names that I just read out for each individual faction. I reckon that the blue one is Tempus Novi, the red one is Bloodfaith, the kind of silvery one is First Legion, and the green one is Dustborn, probably. And it's cool. It's cool that we finally have something for factions after basically hearing nothing for so long. It's just nice to see that they are actually going to exist at some point. Like, at this point, despite the fact that they had confirmed, yes, they're coming in this operation, there was something in the back of my mind that was thinking, like, you know what? At this point, there's a good chance that it gets delayed till next operation, or something like that happens where the sort of saga of factions continues, there's another setback, etc. But it seems like they really are on the way. And these are the first indicators as to what the factions are going to entail. Now, I want to say something here that I think is going to be something that some people will think is me being just pointlessly negative, but I don't want you to take it that way because I think it's a really important point. When we were first promised factions, I think that Treyarch had a grand idea for what they would entail, what the factions' sort of mechanics would be and things like that. And I think that when they weren't ready for launch, and they weren't ready for DLC 1, and they weren't ready for DLC 2, and they've been pushed and pushed back to now, with those delays is going to come a significant amount of change. And I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Factions is actually a pretty small system, something that doesn't impact the game in the completely revolutionary way that we were all hoping for, because I think originally we were hoping that Factions would be a fully fleshed out version of like the tier system that you get in Blackout and MP, like full cosmetics, full emotes, full all sorts of crazy stuff. And I think at this point, Factions is going to be a lot less than that. And that's not me trying to trash the mode by any means. I am very eager to be surprised on this one and to see it and go, holy moly, this is more than I was expecting. But I don't want people to go in expecting this to be like the Forsaken expansion that Destiny had, except for Black Ops 4 Zombies, because I think that to set things up in that way, with that kind of expectation, would be setting us up for disappointment and for missed expectations and things like that. We've got to be real about this, right? Black Ops 4 Zombies hasn't been majorly successful. It's had a really rough year. Resources have been diverted away from the project onto other things, as is the nature of game dev. And we're also at the point now where the marketing budget for these games is going to start swinging in the favor of Modern Warfare, which we just had leaked yesterday as being the name for the next COD, not Modern Warfare 4. Video linked on screen in the top right if you want to go click through to that and see what the details are. But that budget is going to swing around. The focus on Black Ops 4 Zombies is going to swing around, and yes, there will be some hype for these Ether maps for sure, because it's the end of the Ether story, but generally, as far as the Activision budgeting is concerned, things are going to be pivoting a little bit, just naturally, as they do every year. And as part of that, I wouldn't be surprised if Factions have transformed into something that are a little less large in scope than was originally planned. When do I think they're going to be coming out? Probably on June 4th, that's my guess, when the Days of Summer part of this operation starts. The unfortunate thing is that most YouTubers are going to be flying out to E3, and so we're not going to have a huge amount of time to spend with the Factions mode, which is just poor timing, unfortunately, but there is always a chance that Factions comes out a little later in the operation, and we're all home at that point, and we can cover it to the fullest possible extent. Now, once we get an announcement about factions officially being on the way rather than just this thing from the game files, I'll probably make a further video talking about something that Jason Blundell told me in an interview about factions at Comic-Con that I've never released just because of other circumstances that have happened. There's a little bit of stuff that he told me in that interview about the factions mode that I think might be relevant to your interests, and also to kind of see how it might have changed since those original plans, because if they come out now and say factions is a system for you to get some extra tier skips every day or something like that, that's not what it was originally going to be by any means, trust me. So it'll be interesting to make a kind of comparison there and see how things have transformed, as they always will in game development. That's part of the nature of the business, really. That isn't all though, okay? So we've talked about the fact that Joshua Cool has found this file in the game files. Joshua Cool has also found 2 other files, and these ones appear to be related to an upcoming Treyarch custom mutations mode. Now, this is something that I haven't actually made a video about just yet, because when the news broke previously, I was busy with something and I just didn't have time to cover it. But the idea is that at some point, Treyarch, alongside gauntlets that they've been doing, are going to be introducing a custom mutations mode, which is officially curated, and it means that Treyarch will set a load of settings in mutations and then set that as an official playlist for you to matchmake into or what have you and play with your friends. And I'm hopeful, very, very hopeful, that the Easter eggs in each map are going to be enabled for those curated playlists, wherein normal mutations, where you set the settings, you can't do the Easter eggs. They're turned off. I'm really crossing my fingers that the eggs are possible in this custom mode for obvious reasons, right? It's what makes mutations actually attractive to do. Being able to do the full Easter egg of all these maps with all these crazy settings would really bump up the replayability of the entire game. I would absolutely be more interested in playing Black Ops 4 Zombies more regularly if I could jump into the game and play with Noah, JC, and Chopper and do the 9 Easter egg with only Blightfathers or something stupid. Now, obviously that wouldn't necessarily work because of various Easter egg steps, but if Treyarch are curating a playlist, they can choose these kind of weird, wonky settings that will transform the gameplay in a significant way, but will also gel with the Easter egg steps and therefore be a really fun experience, hopefully. And that's what I'm hoping to see in this. And that's what we seem to be having teased here with these 2 images from the game files as being coming pretty soon. Hopefully, they're going to release alongside, potentially, factions, or they might end up doing something where it's a little bit staggered and we get one week and then the next week we get an update that brings factions or the Treyarch custom mutations or vice versa. Either way, these are 2 pieces of information, I guess you could say, that don't actually have dates on them. So there is always a chance that the factions thing comes right at the end of this current operation, which would be like early July. And there is also a chance that the Treyarch custom mutations thing doesn't even make it into the game. Like, that's possible. These things happen. Game development can be weird, could get cancelled or pushed back last minute, so don't go expecting Treyarch custom mutations to definitely drop on June 4th or anything like that. Factions is the one that's actually been talked about publicly and announced and will be coming before the next operation in July, but the Treyarch custom mutations mode is something that we just have to wait for as being a hopeful sooner rather than later, really. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about whether there are any things that you want Treyarch to do specifically with either of these 2 things that they might be able to work in last minute here, and take some ideas from the comments section. If you've got any ideas for how Treyarch could really reinvigorate the zombies community with either of these 2 things, then chuck them in the comments down below. Just go ahead and do it. And also, guys, I've been posting a bunch of custom zombies videos recently, but some of them haven't really been doing that well, and so I want to get your opinion on what kind of content you want to see from me right now. Like, especially if you've watched this video all the way through, you're a dedicated viewer of mine, and I have a huge amount of thanks and respect for you, and I want to make sure that I'm making content that appeals to your interests. So let me know what you want to see. I think I'm going to make a full dedicated video talking about this, but just let me know. Let's get some discussion going, and hopefully I can realign my content output a little bit to really match what you guys are looking for. Thanks for watching. I've been MrRoflWaffles. I'll hopefully see you very soon in more zombies videos. Bye for now.
At least he's useful, the sexist little shit.
I have sired thousands of children. Slaughter countless more!